Hey crafters, it's me Sarah with Craft Test Dummies, and today I want to discuss with you guys the 4 different paints that are currently offered by Ranger Ink and some ins and outs about the paints and maybe to help you decide which ones are best for you or fit your craft personality the best. So like I said, there's currently 4. We have the Dina Wakely Dylusions paints, the Tim Holtz Distress paints, the new Ranger paint dabbers, and the Dina Wakely Media Heavy Body Acrylic paints. So real quick before we go into these, I just want to bring up one thing quick. I know you guys have seen these in the past, the Ranger Adirondack Acrylic Paint Dabbers. These were officially discontinued in January. I know a lot of us had problems with these drying out and stuff, and problems with the dabber and paint drying on the dabber, and then never be able to get the paint re-moistened and allow new fresh paint to flow through. So I want to let you guys know that Ranger has fixed that problem, and the new paint dabbers that you see here are completely different formula than the Adirondack. And if you have some dried out paint on the top here, like you can see I do, all you have to do is press right in the center on your craft mat. You don't have to use your finger obviously, and you can see that some of the new paint comes out. And the most important thing to remember with the dabber is the little release valve that's located right in the center of the dabber, and you need to make sure that gets depressed down to allow the paint to flow through correctly. If you go at it from the side or try to press on your craft mat from the side, you're not going to get any out. So if you are using it on a project and you're going straight application, make sure you're down. If you squeeze it, it'll help a lot more paint come through. So if you want some on your craft mat, hit down and squeeze, and that'll allow a lot of paint to kind of flow out there. So let's go ahead and get into some of the swatches and stuff that I did on Craft Test Dummies. Oh, a good thing to note too, since this is just kind of like a quick overview and ins and outs of the paints, we have reviewed the Dylusions paints, the Distress paint, and the Media paints in full over at Craft Test Dummies. So make sure you go over and check those reviews out if you're not really familiar with any of those paints at all. So, and those have fun swatches and samples and projects and stuff that I made with those. So one of the things I really wanted to test out with these paints is the difference in dry time and coverage. So what I did was I took my kitchen scale and some little disposable souffle cups, and I measured equal amounts of the paint by weight into the souffle cup. And then I took some of Ranger's mixed media cardstock and quickly with a paintbrush used as much paint as I possibly could get out of that souffle cup and see how much coverage it took, and then I timed it to see how long it will dry. Now my craft room ate my Dylusions swatch and my Dina swatch. I have photos, so I'll input those in here while I'm yakking. But first here you can see the Ranger acrylic paint dabber covered almost the entire piece of mixed media cardstock here, and this one took 3 minutes to dry, so pretty quick dry time, I'd say. Then we have the Tim Holtz Distress paint. This is in the new Mermaid Lagoon. I love the color. The Distress paint was the quickest to dry. We got a little bit more coverage out of this than we did the paint dabber. This is a little bit thinner of a paint, the Distress, than the dabber paint, and this took 2 minutes to dry. So 1 minute less if you're looking for a quick dry time. If you don't like waiting for things, if you're impatient. With the Dylusions, this one had the most coverage, but it also took the longest to dry. The Dylusions took about 13 minutes to dry. And then finally, we have the Dina Wakely Media paints, and these had the least amount of coverage. That's because it's the least amount of paint that I got out of it by weight, because these are so thick. So they didn't have as much coverage, but they did take 8 minutes to dry. So definitely quicker than the Dylusions paints. So let's now take a look at price and how much paint you're getting per bottle here. So the Dylusions and the Dina paints, you get 2 ounces of paint in each tub and bottle. And then for the dabber and the Distress, you get 1 ounce bottles. The the Distress paints, those average at about $5 a bottle. And these are really popular. Oh, they're also available in 60 different colors. So if you really like Distress or you like to have a lot of color options, the Distress line is going to be for you. With the Dylusions paints, again, 2 ounces, you get, these are $5 for one little tub, and that's a lot. These go like a long way. So, oh, one other thing I want to mention is make sure you do go check out this review, because the full review, because there was a production issue with the Dylusions paints with the bubblegum pink and the crushed grape. And so we went over on the website too and did a video on some ways to get around it if you had problems with those colors. So $5 each on those. Paint dabber, these are the most inexpensive. These are only $3.50 a bottle, and these come in, let's see, 17 different colors right now. The Dylusions, there's 12 colors in the Dylusions line currently. For the media paints, these are about $6 a bottle, and the metallics are $7 a bottle. These are going to be a little bit more expensive because of the high quality that you have in these paints. So it just really depends on what you want and what you're looking for. So with that, let's take a quick look at the delivery method and how you can use these paints. Obviously, with the Dylusions, you've got a nice big tub here. You can stick your brushes directly into the tub of paint, or you can use the cap. If you like putting your fingers in the paint, you can do that. And you can also use the baby wipe method that Diane really likes. So there's a lot of options with having a big tub like this, or a big pot of paint. Obviously with the dabbers, the delivery method is going to be the same. It's a dabber top, so you can go directly onto your project. You can squeeze some out for onto your craft mat if you want to use it with a paintbrush, or you can dab it and swirl it if you've seen Tim's cool tag swiping technique. You can also open up the bottle and leave it open and go ahead and directly put your paintbrush in there to use the paint. I don't really like doing that though, because it's hard for me to gauge how much paint is in the bottle. So sometimes I'll dip it down way too far and I'll get like my bottom of my paintbrush is like covered in paint. So I prefer doing the craft mat, but it's whatever your crafty hearts desire. The media paints, you're pretty restricted on this guy, because all you can do is squeeze it out onto your craft mat or onto a palette and use it that way. If you are going to be covering a larger surface with this, you can definitely squirt it directly onto your work surface and or your project surface and to go from there. So recommendations, which paints do you want the most of? If you like to do high quality artist work, if you work a lot on canvases, you usually go to the, fancy paint aisles at the craft store, not the apple barrel craft kind of dollar paints. These are the paints for you. You'll definitely want to pick up Dina's media paints. They're the heavy body, they move around really well, they're extremely thick and have really great coverage. The Dylusions and the Paint Dabber Distress, they're great for art journaling. So are Dina's. I mean, it's not like they are, but if you don't like getting your hands dirty a lot and you like to keep your manicure nice and clean, I suggest grabbing the Paint Dabbers. These are going to help you keep your fingers cleanest the most. Dylusions, if you like doing finger paints, if you feel like a kid, if you feel like a super crazy artist like Diane when you're using these, they kind of bring out the kid in you, the craft, or the kid and the crafter in you. So it just really depends. If you like to travel a lot and you craft while you travel, I would go with a dabber. You don't want to be sitting on a plane with a pot of Dylusions sitting open and hit turbulence and have this go fly across the aisle and hit somebody in the face, because too bad for that passenger, but you're also going to be losing all of your paint. So I like the dabber form for that. Again, if I am working on a canvas, I like to prep with the gesso first, and then I like to use the media paints just because of their really thick nature. One other good thing to note about all 4 of these paints is they're totally permanent once they're dry. So if you put water or another paint on top of it, it's not going to react. This paint's going to stay where it is once it's dry. I know the old Ranger ones, these ones still reacted with water if you squirted it after it dried on your project. So just good to note that these are really great all around craft paints. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments. Again, please go look at the review the full review that I'm typing up for Craft Test Dummies, and you'll have more pictures and information over there, and we'll also discuss the Dylusions issue that they had, Ranger had with production. Please make sure you ask any comments or questions at the bottom of the video, and I hope you guys have a super crafty day. Talk to you soon.